Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making the time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
Thank you so much for making the time.
Apologies.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for making the time. Ladies and gentlemen,
That does happen. Let's try that again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a wonderful opportunity for you to be able to learn and absorb an amazing partnership that has brought so much impact on the African continent. We are talking about the future of Africa, which will be realized by its entrepreneurship potential, being given the opportunity to flourish and to be able to have the exposure as well as the investment to be able to make itself known, not only on the continent, but all over the world. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we will be exploring a live info session on the NBA Africa Triple-Double Accelerator, which is now in its second edition and has been able to impact the continent in exponential ways and is continuing to do so. So we are very excited to be able to bring this event to you live, in which we are going to be just unpacking what it is to actually be a participant in this accelerator. So if you've been watching closely on all the social medias or your email addresses or in different places where you may have seen information on this, today is the session where we start to contextualize what it is you've been reading. What does it take to be a part of this? And what does it take for you to make sure that you flourish and you shine? So today we hope three things happen. Number one is we hope you're inspired. We hope you actually get to understand what it takes to be a part of this program. But not only that, you are also going to hear the impact that it has already had on the 10 finalists from last year. You're also going to be inspired to hear that you are actually someone who is qualified to be a part of this. Sometimes you might think to yourself, am I worthy? Today, the answer will be yes. And also you're going to be informed. What is it that you're actually going to be doing? What is the accelerator? What actually are you going to be doing on a day-to-day basis? And hopefully this ignites you to want to apply, because applications are open and will be closing towards the end of August. Or maybe there might be an extension, depending, who knows? But August 29, you will be there. Now, the most exciting part, of course, is today we're going to be unpacking this with some amazing and very, very capable and very, very confident women who are trailblazing in the name of entrepreneurship all over the world as well as Africa. Today, we have two speakers. Our first speaker is Clare Akamanzi, who is the CEO of NBA Africa. And as NBA Africa CEO, Clare oversees the NBA's business and basketball development efforts in Africa and is responsible for continuing to grow the popularity of basketball, the NBA, and the Basketball Africa League, BAL, across the continent, including through grassroots basketball development, media distribution, corporate partnerships, and social responsibility initiatives that improve the livelihoods of African youth and families. Prior to joining NBA Africa in January 2024, she spent 6.5 years as CEO of Rwanda Development Board, where she spearheaded Rwanda's economic development by enabling private sector growth. Under her leadership, the RDB implemented several business policy reforms and initiatives that led to significant investment and development for the country, including through partnerships with the BAL, Arsenal Football Club, Paris Saint-Germain, FC Bayern Munich, and Time Magazine, among others. She was also recognized by Forbes as one of Africa's top 50 powerful women in 2020. That is not a mouthful, ladies and gentlemen. That is all facts. But also, alongside her, we have Aisha Jackson, who is the general manager for ALX South Africa. Aisha is an accomplished leader and venture builder with over 15 years experience driving growth, operational excellence, and strategy. She's passionate about unlocking the potential of Africa's youth and building ecosystems that enable inclusive economic growth. And as the newly appointed general manager for ALX South Africa, she leads the strategic implementation of ALX's mission to equip 2 million young Africans with the skills, mindset, and networks to thrive in the digital economy by 2030. Previously, she headed ALX Ventures, the company's Pan-African tech incubator, supporting African founders to build sustainable businesses that transform communities and the world. In this role, she notably spearheaded the NBA Africa's Triple-Double Accelerator, which became an award-winning sports innovation program. Aisha was born in the United States, raised in South Africa, and traveled personally and professionally to over 30 countries. Aisha brings a truly global perspective to ecosystem building and is deeply committed to being a catalyst for a thriving Africa and inclusive world. Needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a treat. And so with that, I will not to take up any more of your time. We will now get straight into our set of questions, which of course is very, very simple. What is the Triple-Double Accelerator? And this question I am asking Ms. Akamanzi. What is the Triple-Double Accelerator?
Thank you, Kuda, and I'm super excited to be joining you today. And thank you to everybody that has joined this session. I'm excited to speak alongside Aisha Jackson, who was a partner and a sister in getting this Triple-Double Accelerator off the ground, and also our other partners, in addition to ALX, ServiceNow, very, very strong, excited partners, just like we are at NBA Africa. So what is the Triple-Double Accelerator? The Triple-Double Accelerator is part of our efforts as NBA Africa to support the tech ecosystem and to develop the next generation of African leaders through the tech sector. Now, why did we choose the name Triple-Double? Triple-Double, as many of you would know, if you're a fan of basketball, is a mark of excellence. When a player has statistics that are described as triple-double, it's excellence. And so this was our way of celebrating and recognizing the startups that provide solutions that are meaningful in the industries that we care about and that we're in specifically. And that is the sports and creative industries. And so we started this initiative as a way of reaching our fans, but also in an industry that is really exciting with the African continent, by supporting solutions that would allow the ecosystem of sports and creative industry to grow as well. And so this is season 2, second year we're doing this for Triple-Double Accelerator. But last year when we started, the response from African startups was overwhelming. It was excellent. It confirmed to us that the choice and decision to support the integration of this industry of startups in these entertainment, creative industry and sports industries was the right decision on our part, because it was very clear that the response and the excitement that it generated was just exactly what the African young populations were really looking for. And so last year we had 700 applications. We awarded the top 4, and we also recognized the top 10 in the competition. We're excited about this year, season 2. We believe we're going to get even greater interest, and we encourage many, many Africans across the continent to participate in this exciting initiative.
That's an amazing point that you give there, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of questions about anything that you guys are saying. So just to remind everyone who's in the audience and watching, please make sure that you have questions at the ready, and you can put them in the comment section of the platform that you're watching from. And when we are able to now open our Q&A, we'll be able to ask the questions appropriately to everyone. So with everything that is being said, please make sure that you are listening and also preparing your questions. So thank you so much, Claire, for opening up that conversation point to say, what is a Triple-Double Accelerator? What is it as a mark of excellence when we're looking at statistically from the name, but it's also a means of being able to find Africa's best. Now, there's a question that also comes outside of this, which is a very natural question. And I think even for myself, when I first heard about NBA Africa looking for entrepreneurs, I was like, entrepreneurs in basketball, how does this work? So people don't typically associate the NBA with business. So what has inspired you to start an initiative like this?
Yeah, a couple of reasons, Kuda. First of all, our mission at the NBA is to connect people everywhere through the power of basketball. We believe that basketball and the fandom that comes with basketball brings that power that we can actually use to connect people everywhere. And so that's the first context. The second is, when we started the Basketball Africa League on the African continent, we committed to work with several partners to build a wider ecosystem that allows sports to thrive. And sports industry is projected to reach $20 billion in 2035. That's a huge economic proposition that is to be tapped. And so to get there, we believe in building and contributing to building that ecosystem that can really tap into that economic opportunity that comes with the sports industry. And so our commitment is to, work towards integrating sports, but with a bigger ecosystem. And that's why we decided to, pick this startup competition that we call the Triple-Double Accelerator. And because we also know that if they find solutions that allows the ecosystem to grow, and think about it in the sports industry, we consume a lot of other industries, whether it's hospitality, whether it's eventing or ticketing, digital platforms, all of those actually improve the experience that sports consumption brings. And so investing in those areas actually is investing in the sports industry as well, and is investing in the bigger ecosystem of the sports industry. The last point I would say on that, Kuda, is we also see sports as a big economic opportunity, and we've seen the results already as NBA Africa. When we started the BAL, which is about 5 years now, we've done 5 seasons, we measured the impact after year 4 to see how we were contributing, how basketball in particular was contributing to the economic ecosystem of the continent. And we found that we contributed in just those 4 years about $250 million worth of GDP in the countries mostly that were hosting the BAL games. Imagine how much more we can do if we really optimize the ecosystem in ways such as the Triple-Double Accelerator does. The other statistics that we found is that 37,000 jobs, nearly 40,000 jobs were linked to the BAL presence in these countries. And so that just confirms to us that by focusing on basketball in particular, but sports industry in general, we could actually meaningfully contribute to job creation and economic growth on the African continent. And so that requires us to look at the bigger ecosystem beyond what happens on the court.
So when you say we're looking at the bigger ecosystem and going further than what we see on the court, that then brings into question to say that, what are the priorities in terms of, NBA Africa on the continent? And why is it that, initiatives like this are exciting? So if you don't mind just, explaining a little bit about NBA Africa's mission on the continent so that people understand further why, it's tuning in, or rather wanting to be an entrepreneur associated with a brand like NBA Africa is important. So what are some of your priorities, including the sport on the continent?
Yes. Obviously, our primary objective is to grow the popularity of basketball on the continent by increasing the fandom that we have, the number of people that watch and follow the game of basketball, in particular the games that we produce here. And we do that in different ways. When we say our mission is to use the power of basketball to connect people everywhere, that means using the power of basketball to really connect people to other very important and exciting areas of life that they might be integrated in. For example, when we have our games BAL, you see a lot of culture, you'll see music, you'll see Afrobeats, you'll see Amapiano, you'll see local entertainment, you'll see local economies coming to be part of that, whether it's the conference or eventing industries. And so using the platform as a pivot of basketball and touching those other areas that people care about, where people are. And again, we like to say that we like to get to our fans and meet them where they are. If they're in entertainment, in culture, in arts, in technology, we will use the power of basketball to meet them where they are. And in doing that, we meet our very primary objective, which is to grow the game of basketball and its popularity on the continent.
I love that statement, using the power of basketball to meet people where they are. And that's where entrepreneurs also need to be thinking about their solutions. It's about meeting the customer where they are. And it's such an important lesson for African entrepreneurs to make sure that they're tailoring and building businesses that are for the solutions that the people that they are, rather than imagining, a different scenario that's not on the ground. So that's a brilliant observation there.
And Kuda, just to say that we also know that the African youth are very innovative. If you go to the streets of Nairobi, of Lagos, Johannesburg, Accra, Kigali, you find all these spaces where all these young people are really innovating for the future. And so really supporting that energy, I think is really almost a duty for all of us to do.
Yeah, no, and energy definitely is the time. I think the export of Africa as a concept is at its highest at the moment, and I think the time is perfect for these kinds of initiatives to really do that. And so speaking now of the priorities and joining it all together, when it comes to the Triple-Double Accelerator, what does it actually take to be eligible for the accelerator? Like, what are you looking for and why?
I'm sure Aisha has a lot to add there as well, as a partner. But what we're looking for is early stage startups. And the primary, objective is to find startups in the early stage of their life as a life cycle as a startup that have solutions in the areas that we've specified. So in sports or in the creative industries. Last year, just to give examples, we had startups that had solutions in, merchandise, producing shoes, using recyclable materials. On the other hand, we had solutions in ticketing, using, digital solutions for, enhancing the experience of, events and ticketing in that sense. We had artificial intelligence solutions. We had one that had live, had a platform or an app for scouting of talent. And so it's really in that broad, spectrum of creative industries and sports, but really finding solutions that solves a problem that can actually improve these sectors and particularly address a need in those sectors.
Okay, so I'm gonna just, ask you one or two follow-ups based on that, because I think it's a particular place where there's a lot of interest from the audience and also potential entrepreneurs. How close do I have to be to the criteria you're mentioning? What if I have a food catering business and then all of a sudden I say I'm catering for sports people? Will that work? How close to these industries and talents are you guys necessarily looking for? What's the room, the flexibility?
Well, you have to be relevant. You see, I wouldn't stifle innovation. If somebody has a food solution that really, if it's, for example, a nutrition, somebody last year actually had an energy, product that they produced to support sports athletes, and that was relevant. So if you're innovative and your food or your whatever can actually support the sports industry, we will not stifle your innovation. Be innovative and give us that idea.
Be innovative and give us that idea. So I think there's a lot that's there in order for us to really think about in terms of the NBA Africa's involvement in this. And so if you don't mind, Claire, thank you so much for the pearls of wisdom that you brought in. We're definitely going to ask you to come back on stage when the questions start flowing. But we're just going to take a quick walk across to your other partner, ALX Africa, with Aisha. And we're going to start just asking this question, Aisha, which is about entrepreneurship and Africa. What is ALX Ventures and what is its vision for entrepreneurs in Africa, and how does this partnership then fit into that? I know this is a bit of a mouthful, so I said, what is Ventures? What is this vision for entrepreneurs? And so how does this partnership really work for that?
Thanks, Kuda. First of all, I want to start off by saying I'm very excited to be here. As Kuda had mentioned, we had the amazing opportunity to partner with the NBA last year on the first edition. And we'll get to it a little bit later, but the success that we have seen with those startups just makes this opportunity so exciting to be back for a second season. So can't wait to dig into it. But as you mentioned, Kuda, just starting a little bit off with ALX Ventures. So we are a Pan-African tech incubator, and we are committed to empowering Africa's next generation of bold, innovative African entrepreneurs. From our incubator and academy, we have been able to graduate over 100,000 graduates, which is equal to over 4,300 startups. And so at ALX, the reason why this is so important, so we belong to a bigger group, but that is on the mission of the 2 million jobs by 2030. And where ALX Ventures fits into that is that we believe that entrepreneurship will be a key part of that job creation. And so for us, with our 4,300 ventures, we've been able to create 13,600 jobs. So this is really, entrepreneurship plays a huge part in seeing the African economies thrive. And the partnership with the NBA on this Triple-Double Accelerator allows us to combine our expertise in equipping founders with the tools, the mindsets, and the resources to scale with the MBA's global platform, brand, influence, and network. So together, we're creating opportunities for African startups to thrive in the sports and creative industries, which are, as Claire mentioned, on the spotlight, on the global spotlight. And so we have an opportunity in this partnership to spotlight the African talent and innovation.
I think it's such an amazing observation there in terms of the wider mission that ALX Africa has of putting 2 million young people into meaningful and dignified work, but also thinking about the fact that some of these jobs are going to be created by their colleagues. Some of these jobs are going to be created by their peers. And so in as much as it's about ensuring young people have the skills to get the jobs, it's also about inspiring young people to create the job. So job creation, as spoken by Claire and now enunciated by Aisha, is very, very important. So let's get into the meat and potatoes now of like the actual program and what it takes to actually apply. So Claire lovely opened up by telling us about what sort of person we're looking for. And she also said that she would have more to add to this. And so in addition to adding to what sort of people are we looking for, can you also take us through a step-by-step process to successfully apply to the accelerator program?
Absolutely. So you would start by going to the official website, which is actually behind Kuda, and it's triple-double-accelerator.nba.com. Once you are on the website, I really encourage you to read through the website before clicking apply now, just so that you have all the information that you need to be successful, including a frequently asked questions at the bottom. Once you are comfortable with understanding what are the requirements as well as the journey that you will be going on, then you would go just click on apply now and you would complete the application. The application will take you about 60 minutes to complete. So it is a very on the lengthier side of applications, but it's important. It's important to take time to really convey what your business is about and what makes you unique. So in that application, you will be talking about your startup story, your founding team, the traction that you've had in terms of customers, revenue, and milestones. I think in particular, I want to point out there that, and we'll get to an eligibility, but if you don't have these things in terms of number of customers and revenue, it's not the worst thing, right? And we'll get to a little bit about that. Your business model, of course, how are you creating a sustainable business and the impact that you're having either in your community or in the larger continent. And then we do recommend that you add a pitch deck and a demo. So yeah, start now, right after this, because applications are closing next week, Friday, on the 29th of August, and it's something that you kind of want to start and come back to. Okay. Did I answer that? Was that your only question, step by step?
Yes, step by step, you did.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna grill down in a little bit into that step-by-step process. So I'm an entrepreneur. I think I kind of meet some of these requirements. I put in my best possible application, and then I come to this session and I realize, oh, wow, there's a lot of things that I left out of. Am I able to apply more than once? Or I have to give it my best possible shot because there is no redos?
So I mean, I can't say there isn't a redo. I definitely want you to give your best shot on the first try. But again, we're reachable and flexible. If there's something that you've forgotten and want to kind of iterate again, or that you kind of discover wasn't, maybe said in the right way, absolutely just reach out to us, and we can be supportive of that. I think what I'll take from that question as well is maybe let's discuss what is the eligibility criteria that was talked about a little bit earlier. So you do have to be headquartered in Africa. That is really important. Less than 2 years. So this is different than last year. Last year we were, it was the first edition. We were wanting to see what is possible in Africa. And I think after that, we realized that we really want to drill down and give the opportunity to those who are not always given those opportunities. So we are this time leaning a bit more into early stage. So less than 2 years is really important. Of course, again, sports and creative industry. You must have a tech-enabled solution, and that's really important based on the partnership that we have this year with ServiceNow, who's an official partner with us. And ServiceNow focuses on cutting-edge AI tools, which will be integrated into the program, which is very exciting this year. We are looking for you to have a proof of functional prototype. Really, we do want to have at least two co-founders who have dedicated more than 40 hours, just demonstrating your commitment to continue the business, and preferably registered, but that is something that, we would look at based on, when you founded your business
So you said
or
a word
started
that
your business. Sorry.
started. So you said a word that really piqued my interest. You said flexibility. Now, in a perfect world, we will find applicants who meet everything you've asked for to a T. But sometimes it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes you're a little bit close, a little bit, maybe you don't have two founders. Maybe you're the only founder. Maybe, you actually are looking for the investment now to get to become tech enabled. So what is the flexibility in terms of criteria or eligibility that is offered? Is there any way it's spelled out, or I just have
Yes, absolutely. So if you go onto the website, that's why I'm just encouraging you to really read the website. And we do have our requirements. And but however, please, if you have a compelling idea, please do still apply. I don't think there's anything wrong with applying and shooting your shot. And we can see where we would end up being flexible in the end. But obviously, we do have our criteria and the types of startups that we are looking for.
awesome. So I personally am a fan of a lot of entrepreneurial shows and investments. So when I see an example like Triple-Double Accelerator is available in my part of the world, I'm like, oh, wow, let me get a suit for Shark Tank, or let me go on Dragon's Den or something like that. But I then read through the finer details of the accelerator and I see there's a 10-week program. And I'm like, wait, is there class? Am I going to be in school? What's happening here? Can you tell us a little bit about how the delivery of the accelerator is? What is this 10-week program and how do I actually participate if I'm successful?
Yes, absolutely. There is class, and that's a really important part of being a part of something like this. Um, you cannot take the opportunity to partner and be a part of an MBA accelerator and not want to be imparted by their knowledge. So let me break down a little bit more about this 10-week program. It was absolutely designed to empower African founders and equip them with, world-class mentorship, targeted master classes, and entry to global networks. And I want to break down each of those by kind of just referring back to last year. The world-class leadership. World-class mentorship. I can't explain enough. You will get access to the MBA staff who are just looking, to mentor African talent. Last year, a few of the startups were mentored by the president of the G League. That type of knowledge of of working with someone who's leading a global brand is just, it's invaluable, right? Absolutely, there is a financial reward at the end if you win. But when you listen to the stories of the impact that the MBA had, yes, it was financial, but really it was the master classes, the mentorship, the global exposure, being associated with this brand. So yes, world-class mentorship. Then when we talk about the master classes I mentioned earlier, MBA has brought on ServiceNow, so you'll get exposure to AI tools and make sure that you are, at the forefront of this AI movement. You also get other classes to help you refine your product, scale your business, for operational excellence. And you also get some coaching, which will prepare you for that high profile demo day in December at the end of the program, where you will pitch to be able to win up to $50,000. So awesome, awesome opportunity all the way around. I cannot recommend it enough if you are looking to grow your business.
I think there's 50,000 reasons you just mentioned for someone wanting to participate in this program. But just before we open it up to the question and answer section, we've got some questions that are flooding in from the chat. I want to bring Claire back based on this outlining of what is actually in the program, just to ask a question that draws upon your entire experience that we outlined in the bio. How important is it for entrepreneurs to learn continuously about business? Or is it from the day you start a business, you're found? In your experience, what is the value of learning as an entrepreneur?
First of all, I think that entrepreneurship is a school, a continuous school. There's a lot you learn from running a business. And I think that's probably primarily where you're going to do a lot of learning. But it's important to learn beyond your business, because there's a lot of changes that happens in the market. It's very important to remain attuned to what's happening on the market. What does the consumer today want? What do I need to change? What do I need to embrace? We talk about artificial intelligence. Should I be thinking about artificial intelligence as an entrepreneur in whatever sector or industry you're in? So I think that learning is lifelong. You have to, if you want to be sharp, you have to keep learning. In addition to learning from your everyday business. And somebody used to tell me that when you stop learning, you begin to expire.
Wow. Okay. That's a big one. When you start learning, you start to expire. So it's been good talking to you guys around the formal section of our session today, asking questions about the Triple-Double Accelerator. We unpacked why the MBA is passionate about this, why ALX Ventures is happy to partner with people with companies like the MBA to get things going. And we also understood a little bit about the program and a little bit about what you're looking for in particular. So for those of you who are joining us now, we are about to get into our Q&A session. Prior to this, we were talking with our wonderful speakers, Clare Akamanzi, who is the CEO of NBA Africa, and Aisha Jackson, who is the GM for ALX South Africa. And together they have been unpacking what is the NBA Africa Triple-Double Accelerator. And so if you're only arriving now, you can still pick up and ask a couple of questions. And as you are hearing more of the answers from the audience questions, please make sure that you prepare your own. So without further ado, ladies, we have our very first question, and it is for Aisha. And if Aisha says something, you're also welcome to add to it, and vice versa. Aisha, this is a very awesome question that has come in, and it says, what if we're working on an idea and started the implementation and proof of concept, but haven't established a company yet? Are we eligible for the program?
Yeah, so as mentioned, that speaks to two of the criteria. It has to be a functional prototype. I also think the important thing there is you need to be able to prove there is market value in your prototype. So it'd be good to have like customer feedback as well that you can kind of incorporate into your application. Registered business is preferred, but I would still go ahead and apply even if you do not have a registered business. If you're meeting all the rest of the criteria, I do know in some African countries, once you register a business, you kind of have to start paying taxes. Like there's regulations that you have to upkeep. So I do think that you can go ahead and apply if you're not necessarily registered, but you're meeting all of the rest of the criteria, you know, especially two co-founders working on it full time. You're proving market value. What is your traction so far?
Thank you for that answer. And you know, if you, as you are both answering these questions, you're also welcome, please, to include some examples from the first edition. If there's any entrepreneurs you remember who may have, you know, sparked a way to answer some of these questions, that would be great. So passing it over now to Claire. Thank you so much, Aisha. I think this question is on everyone's minds, and I'm sure even after this session, we'll still be asking this question, which is how can winners benefit from the MBA and ALX after the program? So obviously you can speak more so for MBA Africa, and Aisha, you can then touch on the ALX side. After the program, how can winners benefit?
So I think, first of all, after the program, remaining to be part of the network that is Triple-Double alumni, if I can put it that way, I think is important. Continuing to follow what we do, follow our websites, follow our social media platforms, continue to be part of this community that we will have created by being part of the Triple-Double Accelerator, I think is really important. And one of the objectives we have for this initiative is also to find solutions that could be relevant even in our own business, because we run a business here in NBA Africa. We have the BAL, which is a league that we run. And one of the objectives for all of this is to also see if some of those solutions can actually be directly useful in the business that we do every day. And I think that is a big opportunity that we hope that we can actually be able to unlock for some of the startups that participate in the program. And some of them actually did get opportunities after the program that we continue to follow up. For example, the winning festival coins, you know, we understand that they were also able to do the ticketing for the John Legend show that happened in Nigeria with Global Citizen. So when we see those kinds of opportunities, we keep track of them, we follow them, and we continue to encourage them and to mentor them to take opportunities such as this.
I would love to elaborate further on what Claire mentioned. So she did talk. So Festival Coins SOUTH Africa was did win last year, but maybe if we also look at so we selected 10 finalists, and someone who didn't necessarily win in one of the top four still went on to kind of gave us feedback around the fact that just being a part of this accelerator and being a part of the finalists has done so much for his own credibility. And I'm talking in particular to Gara, who's a gaming platform, and they've been able to go on and sign contracts with 3 francophone telcos, as well as raise $500,000 USD. And so even if you obviously have to give your best effort to get the most out of any opportunity. But I think just being a part of this, going through this 10-week program, just the exposure and the growth and the coaching and the mentorship, all will end up in huge growth for your business, whether you win the money and the financial support or not. So just, you got to lean into any opportunity that you get.
And if I could also just add, Kuda, also just, coming to this platform, we get to know you, we get to know what you do. And sometimes when the opportunity is to even give you further exposure, we will do that. I'll give an example with Hasso Sasa, one of the winners that came from Kenya, during the BAL Tech Summit that we have every year. We brought them as one of the speakers to speak about what they do, their product, as an example of what Triple-Double can do. And so getting opportunities beyond the competition, because you've participated, you have the exposure, also continues to breed even more opportunities for visibility and also for networking.
I think I agree with both of you in terms of just of course, they are the tangibles that you get, but they're also the intangibles, the things that are probably more invaluable. I remember one of the stories, Buzzer, which was one of the finalists from last year, was talking about how its visibility on the continent increased 12x just by having its name associated with the NBA. So there's so much value that's there. But there's a question, particularly for Claire, actually, which speaks to this idea of where is this all going? Looking at the first cohort success stories, how does NBA Africa rather envision scaling the accelerator's impact in the coming years, not just for the winners, but for the broader African sports and creative ecosystems?
Mm-hmm. So we aim to keep growing. This is only year 2 of the initiative. And every year after the season, what we did last year, what we're going to do this year is to really reflect and see where else can we streamline, where can we grow. And we expect that in the next few years, we expect growth and to have really meaningful impact on the ecosystem, but also on the economies on the continent beyond the entrepreneur. These entrepreneurs are going to come up with solutions that solve problems. Some of them will grow to really become very highly impactful, create jobs, pay taxes, among others. And we just see this as a big opportunity to really support not only the tech ecosystem, but also the wider economy. And what we see beyond this is just growth. In year 5 and year 10 of doing this, we expect to see even bigger growth than we're seeing today in different aspects.
Oh, nice. And so that definitely says that there's been different ways for Africa to benefit from this. And of course, as the businesses get bigger, they support jobs, they support the government, they support different initiatives within there. So thank you for outlining that. Another question has just come in. I think you guys may have touched on this, but Aisha, I'll ask this question to you specifically. Someone is asking, if I don't get accepted, are there other ways to stay engaged? Now, I think the first time you guys addressed this question was more about like the information and the resources that are available, the website, the social media, etc. But I think this question is also speaking to, how do I ensure that I don't lose contact with this opportunity, even if I don't get it?
I love that idea. So absolutely. I mean, we have your information, and sometimes, opportunities come down to timing as well, just as business ideas do. So we will continue to keep you in our database, and next season, we would reach out to you. So just for context, we did reach out to everyone who did apply last year. So that will be a process that will continue to happen. Absolutely. So we will continue to keep in contact with you.
They're kind of like first in line or anything. But then what about if I, want to, of course, I'm waiting a whole year, if that's the waiting period for something to do. Are there any interim things? Are there any courses that are offered outside of this? Is there anything that I am able to attach myself to while I'm incubating and waiting for edition 3?
Yes, I mean, oh no, go ahead, Claire, please.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, just follow us and follow our events. We have so many events, as one example, that happen every year. We have what we call NBA weekends. We have the Basketball Africa League seasons, and season 6 is coming up next year. We have all these events that we have across different markets in Nigeria, in Kenya, in Rwanda. Right now, I'm in Rwanda. We have the Basketball Without Borders camp that's happening starting tomorrow. And so there's so many things that are happening. And I think that's also a great way to not just stay connected, but to also understand what the industry is about. And it might enhance your understanding of the solution that you're looking and the problem that you want to solve, but just being, experiencing as a guest, as a fan, as a customer. And I think that also just allows you to really, even enhance your solution better.
Yeah, I think that sounds very, very exciting. And I guess as entrepreneurs, you've also got to be creative and staying in touch. So I'm sure they can also have their own ideas about how to remain engaged. But let's just
I think Aisha wanted to say something on that as well. I think I cut her short a little bit. So Aisha.
No.
Yeah, I'm not taking over your job. Don't worry.
No. I think you captured well. I was just going to say, follow social media. We will end up, continuing to post the success, and we'll figure it out. I hear you on wanting to engage with this and this opportunity. I think one thing that this has done is that now that we have the stories, I think just building something around this is something that's amazing and beautiful and should be shared. So I will take that more as feedback and a place for us to grow.
Awesome. And I think another natural place is for people to follow the finalists and the winners. Their stories are going to be a continued legacy of the NBA Africa Triple-Double Accelerator. There's a bit of a dream building question here, I would say, for both of you. And I'll pass it on to Claire to answer first. And the question was, how was Demo Day last year? What was your experience? And, what stood out the most? Was it as awesome as the pictures show?
Listen, Demo Day was such a highlight for me last year. I mean, of all the things that happened last year, I think one of the highlights was Demo Day. And just listening to 10 entrepreneurs with wonderful ideas, creative ideas, pitch them to a panel of judges and an audience was, I mean, it just showed me the potential and also the innovativeness of African young people, African youth that were participating. And for me, it was really good to see the solutions. It was really good to see how they pitched them. It was also really good to see the audience. We had Adam Silver, the commissioner of NBA, the deputy commissioner, Mark Tatum was, part of those that participated. We had the king of Royal Bafokeng there in the room as well. We had the prime minister of Sierra Leone there as well. We had legends. We had entrepreneurs. We had leaders of different companies, very high quality audience listening to the potential and of the ideas, the startups that were there. For me, that was just wonderful. It was a very successful event. I'm sure it looked really good when you saw the pictures and the videos, but just the content and also the high level nature of the event for me was a highlight, a real highlight, and a delight to see.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. I mean, I think the founders just put so much effort and commitment into getting ready for this moment. And I think from my side, just to see them shine and represent Africa so well was just I was speechless, to be honest. I was speechless and just so proud of them for leaning in and stepping up to the moment, having the courage. I mean, you heard Claire, you heard who was in the room. And they knew who was in the room and they still met the moment. And so yeah, it was just a beautiful display of African talent, innovation. And I think, oftentimes you have these organizations who say they're going to do something, and the NBA they definitely put their money where the mouth is and showed up, and it was just a beautiful experience and moment. And just the exposure, I can't say enough. I mean, you're in the rooms, the networking that happened afterwards. Yeah, it was an unforgettable moment and definitely like top two for me last year. And I'm sure all of the entrepreneurs as well. So really looking forward to the demo day this year, which will be happening on the continent, which will be really special as well.
Awesome. And I have just one more question, and then we can have your closing comments, and then we wrap up. And I think it actually goes a lot with the demo day experiences you both mentioned. You're speaking about the people in the room. You're talking about the exposure that people are going to have, and I think every entrepreneur who's on their way up has this question as well. How much access will I have to the network I'm exposed to after the program is over? Is it going to be one of those I can high five you while we're learning, and then as soon as we're done, it's new number, who's this? I will ask that question to either of you. How much access will I have to the network I'm exposed to after the program is over?
Yeah, I think it's about how committed you are to the networking aspect of this and creating real connections. And I think wherever there is synergy, we have examples of the founders who are still connected to people that they met during this program. And so I think it's really about, I think with any connection, it's really about what the authenticity of it. So to answer your question, yes, absolutely. You will still have those connections. I think as long as they are meaningful and it makes sense to still continue them. And I think in particular with the MBA staff, they are mentoring you for a certain amount of time. If it's their choice to still continue to mentor you, excellent. If not, take the opportunity for what it was. And many of them are going to go ahead and introduce you to other people. And that's what networking is about. So I think all in all, if I were to answer that question, you will walk away with a bigger, stronger network.
That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe I don't know if I'm adding or just emphasizing what Aisha just said. I'd say two steps. One, while at the program, please maximize and take as much as you can, even during demo day. Demo day is very busy for you because you're pitching and you're preparing to do that. But there's a lot of time even after the formal section of the event that you can actually mingle with the people that are there. So be strategic, look out for who you need or who you want, and do engage these people while you have them there on demo day or even during the program, during the mentorship program. But also, if the people that, and this is the second part of my answer, if the people that you want to connect to, we're creating a community of Triple-Double, alumni. If you want to get in touch with anyone that was part of the demo day or part of the program, or even beyond that, to the extent that we can do that for you, we will do that for you. And so just reach out as part of the community of Triple-Double Accelerator, and we'll do our best to support you however way we can.
Thank you so much, ladies. You know what they say, that when you're having a good time, that is actually the best time to leave. You're going to be left wanting more. So the only thing that I would ask is very quickly, starting obviously with Aisha, so that we can end with Claire. In 30 seconds or so, what final words would you like to leave with the audience? What's one last tidbit, one last gem would you like to share with the audience?
Tidbit. Take advantage of sharing the parts in the application where you really get to share who you are. So in that, the people who will be looking at the applications are really going to be investing in the entrepreneur, in the individual. So be sure to be authentic. Be sure to communicate your why. Why is this business so important to you? Why is this business so important to the market or to Africa? And yeah, I think when it comes to the application, don't rush it. Make sure that you have enough time and you're really intentional around what you're sharing, because in the end, that will help you stand out more. It's very evident who has quickly done an application and who has really taken the time. And generally, when someone takes time in the application, it signals your commitment. It signals that you're going to take the opportunity seriously. And these are all really great things to demonstrate to the selection committee. And good luck. Next Friday, apply.
Ms. Claire.
Yeah, and when you apply and join the program, what I would advise is just listen, because it's an incredible opportunity. You'll have incredible access to mentorship. I did attend some of the mentorship programs last year, and in many of them, I was taking serious notes. That's how great they were. And so listen, check in, and you'll end up in a much better place when you're done with the program. So please take advantage.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being a part of this session. We hope that you were able to hear things that will help you to be able to apply, things that will inspire you to take on this opportunity. But if there's one thing that we continually heard was take advantage and make sure you make the most of this moment. As Africa, we need to start putting more of our stars on the map, and not just in the sports-related world, but also in the name of business. And so this opportunity is very, very awesome. As you heard, applications are closing next week, Friday. So make sure that you put in your application, take your time, think it through. And hopefully, as you are listening, you are also thinking about someone else who you know might be able to take over this opportunity. So for those of you who are watching at home, well, thank you. I hope you are comfortable and enjoy the rest of your Friday. Those of you who are listening on their phones or doing something else, we hope whatever you're doing is productive. And to our guests of honor, thank you so much for the time that you put in to have this time with us and to explain a lot more about this amazing opportunity. And we hope to see a lot more of these in the future. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you, Kuda. Thank you, Aisha.